I love the character of Captain America. The era of Steve Rogers was top-notch and something to cherish, except for that suit he had in the first Avengers. It's been a year and 3 months since I last touched upon the MCU, and I'm pretty excited to talk about it again.
It's not a grand slam of a movie. I didn't leave thinking my life changed or felt the need to make it my personality, which a heavy hitter often does for me. And it might have been the fact that I was a bit sleepy, but I love digging into an experience and finding the spectacle. While others are mocking up their critique of the movie, and I'm sure they're all out by the time I release this, allow me to take you through a world of my normie brain. The critics' consensus on Brave New World is as follows. Anthony Mackie capably takes up Cap's mantle and shield, but Brave New World is too routine and overstuffed with uninteresting Easter eggs to feel like a worthy standalone adventure for this new Avengers leader. Now, I don't fully agree with these words, but they are justified. I understand. That's one thing I want to make very clear. I'm not here to attack or call anyone incorrect.
The Marvels remains my most disliked video. The ratio is horrible because of how I presented my stance. I'm looking to avoid that this time around. I'm not here for controversy or discourse or to point fingers.
And with that being said, Captain America Brave New World feels like home. Not because we finally got to see the shield again, but because of Sam Wilson. I loved seeing this man back on the screen. Sam, Anthony Mackie. In a world of individuals we'll never see again, characters that won't appear for another year or more, and new faces constantly thrown at us at this point.
It was the warmest welcome, and not to mention, this was a showcase that he can be Captain America. Not just physically, I mean, he's got the posture down, put a goddamn protractor up on his back, but Sam demonstrates his leadership, confidence, and compassion for other humans.
And how do you empower a mortal man carrying the mantle of Captain America? Freaking vibranium wings, oh my god. Fusing Falcon into Cap makes Sam much more capable to kick ass. Every scene where he's in the suit is pure fun. While I'm still on the topic of how Brave New World feels like home, Mr. Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross, jingoistic warhawk from Wikipedia. What the hell is that word? While I never gave this character too much thought and actually was surprised looking back that he was in Infinity War and Endgame, you've gotta admit,
this dude's been around since the Land Before Time. I mean, some audience members weren't even born when he first appeared on screen. Harrison Ford was fine. This country's no stranger to an old president, and I'm sure you wouldn't mind your replacement, William Hurt. So before we continue this broadcast news, rest in peace. It would have been nice to see you continue this arc.
Tim Blake Nelson back, Liv Tyler right at the end, freaking Bucky for such a heartfelt scene. My man Sebastian Stan has been on a roll out there outside of his Marvel career, and to see him back was awesome. I was one of the few in my showing that audibly made noise.
I think I pulled in, oh shit. It was a cheap Tuesday, so more normies. It's been so long since I went to an opening night.
There were so many elements from Yonder that there is a little bit of truth to calling it an Incredible Hulk sequel. I think the whole concept just worked. I do have a butt section, so keep watching. There has always been an element of friendship surrounding Captain America, and thankfully, we've met Joaquin Torres before. He plays a good, ambitious newcomer with a sprinkle of fun comic relief, but I think he serves a bigger picture here. By becoming the new Falcon and having the original act as your mentor, we are given that element of friendship. It's within the heat of battle that we see how Sam carries his priorities, and how he struggles with his position when Joaquin is hospitalized.
I love the tug of war of Sam's physical weakness. He wants to be so much more and knows it's just a shot away. I mean, think about it. Would you have ever thought of a scenario between the guy Steve would say on your left to fighting a Hulk? He has grown since the show, but Sam knows the burden of his position. And even though time has passed, not sure how much, that little serum still ticks into his brain.
And I personally think that's an admirable characteristic, to morally refuse a cheat code enhancer, but to still somewhat desire because of your want to fulfill and accomplish more for the greater good. Sam's conversation with Bucky could very well be arguably my favorite part of Brave New World. Back in the Endgame times, when thinking about who should be Captain America next, my mind went straight to Bucky. He's Steve's best friend. He has the super juice. It was a no-brainer decision. Now that we're in the future, I think Sam was the right choice, considering what the story has delved into, for better or worse. Two cases. The Winter Soldier still had to face his demons from his past. Making amends from your heart is its own responsibility, and tossing Cap's duty on top would be a charcuterie chaos. And he's running for Congress. Not sure I'm a fan of that. His past and his whole makeup allows for his future to be greater than in politics, unless it's some defeat the system from within plan.
I'm not gonna have a Bucky tangent with Thunderbolts around the corner. That's literally for another day.
There's also his whole inclusion in the Thunderbolts, but my point is, the Winter Soldier has been given a direction. But where would the Falcon have gone? Remain a sidekick? The mantle of Captain America has given the Sam Wilson character the chance to be fleshed out. The chance to show the world that it takes more than being superhuman to be Captain America. And I really like that. To me, Brave New World, despite the Hulk of it all, is a Sam Wilson focused project. And he's the bulk of what I've spoken about thus far. I watched the movie a second time last weekend, and I actually liked it more on the second run. Especially the opening with Cap kicking ass. I was squirting everywhere.
But there is a Madam Web effect here.
What could I possibly mean?
Just reworking the movie. I'll elaborate in a second, but I call it the Madam Web effect because that was my first encounter talking about a movie that shifted around a lot. If I remember correctly, by the end of it, it had become a completely different project than what Dakota Johnson signed on for. I stand by my enjoyment of Brave New World, but when you factor in the reworking of the production, it just breaks my heart a little bit and shatters the illusion.
Of course, I'm talking about primarily rewrites. There were reshoots and pickups as well, but let's dial into the story.
So the film's original script and story were written by Malcolm Spellman and Dallin Musson, which they wrote the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, was polished by Julius Ona and Peter Glantz, but went through a few rounds of rewrites after the strike ended. First, Matthew Orton was hired to rework the script, and they also had writer Rob Edwards have some creative input on the script as well. The Serpent Society got deleted and there was a whole airport fight. Initially supposed to consist of 5 actually serpent-related supervillains, led by Rosa Salazar's 𝙎𝙀𝙁𝙀𝙁𝙀𝙁. She even got her own McDonald's toy last year when McDonald's had to run their Brave New World campaign. The leader and his big head. Yeah, check this out. So instead of having a big ass head, we got that diseased brain, toxic look, which is perfect right here. Boom. I'm not sure the big head would have worked in live action. Adamantium was supposed to be able to absorb gamma radiation in the original cut of the film. That would have been Cap's secret weapon to defeat Red Hulk, as he would use adamantium to drain Ross of his power, which would eventually lead to his apparent death.
Change can be good. Change can be bad, and who's to say anything on that post would have made a good movie? The point that stands is that New World Order, Brave New World, didn't have a cohesive timeline. Sidewinder was an added character. His scenes are pointed out as secluded from everything else.
Didn't notice watching on my own, so I'm impressed on how they glued the scenes together. Call me a simpleton.
This just invokes a huge feeling that we could have gotten an amazing film. Winter Soldier is regarded as one of the best Marvel movies, and I have a question to present. Would Marvel have given a story as such to Steve Rogers?
This is a positive leaning video, but it comes from a place of passion. A place of removing Marvel from being ridiculed upon most releases.
There are many moments that shine in Brave New World. Tim Blake Nelson encompasses a lot of that, with the help of elements like score and cinematography. In fact, I don't think I have any sort of problem with Tim, his performance, or the character. His reveal in the base where he's fully dark but his eyes are glowing green, I really wish we got more of that.
The Hulk buildup between Stern's voice, Ross's frustration, and the booming soundtrack. It was a beautiful execution. And speaking of Stern's voice, I love this man's calls. It might be me, but I love a phone call communication like Jason Bateman in Carry On, or how Ghostface operates.
If my calculations are correct, there's a 97% probability that Captain America will die.
I didn't know the leader was a character before this, but I'm looking forward to his next appearance in about 10 years. And while many people are saying that the post-credits scene was garbage,
I'm glad it's A, only teasing its way to the upcoming Avengers, and B, informing Sam Wilson of what's to come, because even though we know,
he don't.
Brave New World gives us a real Hulk again. I was in awe of all the fights with my mouth a bit open whenever Cap had his suit on. The slow-mo shots when he cut the car in half Hulk threw at him, the missile or the jet during the Celestial Island dogfight. He would tip himself sideways and the wing would just cut through it in slow-mo, and when he freaking ding, tapped the freaking missile, I have to give mention to the espionage of it all. Samuel Stearns had a great motive of not killing Ross, but to ruin his legacy. It's almost Riddler-like how destruction was Stearns' intent, and I thought that elevated his character. Even the post-credits scene has Sam Wilson basically looking at the camera as he tilts his head in confusion while some noir-y music ramps up. Dude, it was a freaking nice touch. We might see Captain America in the next Mission Impossible. No, but seriously, at the end, he was like, and the music's building up, come on. It's easy to miss the greatness when you're looking at the strung up plot and CGI. Whether or not it landed for you, Brave New World tries to end on a sweet note. After Ross comes down from his Hulk rampage, Sam visits the hospital, where Joaquin has finally stabilized. He tells the recovering Falcon that the world needs the Avengers, and extends an invitation to him. Joaquin praises Captain America by telling him that he was his inspiration, his motive to be in this super world, the world he only saw online when he lived in Miami.
This may be one of the proudest praises Sam has ever received in his career, a praise that most likely has eased his thoughts on whether he should have taken the super serum. If that wasn't enough, earlier on Bucky directly said to him that Steve was something people could pour their hopes into, but he was something they could aspire to be. If Sam had any fear of imposter syndrome to be worthy of Captain America, I'm sure they were wiped. What will stick with me going forward in Marvel's future post Brave New World is Sam Wilson's re-established character, the spectacle of his beginnings as Captain America and as a human first. This was my 100th long-form video. I wanted a cool topic and a discussion with heart for the milestone, and I think I accomplished that. I actually do want to rewatch Captain America again already, just cause I think the fights are cool, and I love the shield so much. And the suits. Captain America has nice suits, man. Look at this. Got one here. This one. And you know what? When Betty appeared in front of her father, I got a bit emotional both times. I didn't shed a tear, but it was heartwarming and it hit me. I felt the slightest burn in my eyes. Keeping the outro short today. Love what you like, folks. Protect your energy. And despite the production of this movie, I'm leaving with a thunderbolt clap.
So I'm recording this portion a day after my studio set, shot, whatever, and I'm going to be watching Captain America Friday. So if this comes out Saturday, I saw it yesterday,